Ever spend those nights like I did, huddled under the covers with a flashlight
Yeah.
and just completely lost in a monster movie?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, that feeling, that's what we're diving into today with the Monster
A
Squad.
classic.
Yeah, so it's 1987, and this group of kids who are completely obsessed with monsters, well, they come face to face with the real deal.
Like their clubhouse fantasies come to life.
Exactly. And the movie doesn't just throw monsters at us.
Ew.
It really sets the stage, and it does it beautifully with this opening scene.
Yeah.
A flashback to Van Helsing going up against Dracula.
Oh, yeah, that's a good scene.
And we're not talking about some watered-down Dracula.
Oh, no.
This guy is like straight out of a nightmare.
Totally. He's terrifying.
And we see him trying to use this amulet.
Right.
It's like this powerful source of good,
Mhm.
and he's trying to banish Dracula to another dimension.
That to limbo.
You immediately know, like, the stakes are high.
Oh, for sure.
And that amulet, that becomes like a major plot point.
It does.
Van Helsing doesn't stop Dracula.
Right.
But he leaves behind this diary, and it's full of clues about the amulet and its power,
Uh-huh.
which, as you can guess, falls into the hands of our monster squad.
Well, of course it does.
And that's where we meet one of my favorite characters,
Okay, who's that?
the scary German guy.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
The epitome of don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
He looks intimidating,
Yeah, a gruff exterior.
but he turns out to be so important to these kids.
He's a crucial ally.
What I thought was really impactful was that small detail
What was that?
where they reveal his concentration camp tattoo.
Yes.
It adds this whole other layer to his character.
You know he's seen some real-world horrors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes his knowledge of monsters even more meaningful.
Poignant.
It's a small detail,
It is.
but it speaks volumes about what the film is really trying to explore,
Yeah.
what it means to be a monster.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of monsters,
Yes.
Dracula's not alone.
No, he's brought friends.
He's got a classic monster squad of his own.
He does.
Mummy, Gilman, Wolfman,
It's like a who's who.
like a who's who of horror movie legends.
Exactly.
And the film does such a great job of bringing these creatures to life
Oh, yeah.
with practical effects that still hold up.
I think they do too.
Like even today.
Yeah.
Think about that Wolfman transformation scene.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's creepy and it's visceral,
Still.
even by today's standards.
I agree.
I totally agree.
Yep.
There's a certain charm to those old school practical effects
Mm-hmm.
that you just don't get with CGI.
No, you don't.
But what I thought was really interesting
Okay.
is how the film goes into the Wolfman's character.
Right.
He's not just some mindless beast.
No.
He's portrayed as this tragic figure who's cursed to transform.
Against his will.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it.
Exactly.
It's not his choice.
And the film reminds us that sometimes the most frightening monsters
Yeah.
aren't the ones with fangs and claws,
No.
but the ones who are victims of things beyond their control.
Their circumstances, right?
It adds a layer of complexity and empathy
It does.
to a character that could have been very one-dimensional.
Easily.
And then there's Frankenstein's monster,
Okay.
which completely flips the script on the traditional Frankenstein.
Right.
Forget the mindless brute.
No.
This Frankenstein's monster is sensitive and even forms this heart-warming bond with Sean's little sister Phoebe.
Yeah, she brings out that side of him.
Their friendship is one of the most genuinely touching parts of this film.
I think so too.
It shows that appearances can be deceiving,
Yeah.
and even those who look monstrous can be capable of such kindness.
And compassion.
It's a powerful message,
It is.
especially when you think about the scary German guy's backstory.
Right.
It's like the film is saying that real monstrosity
Yeah.
doesn't lie in how you look,
Yeah.
but in being cruel and hateful.
Precisely.
And that connection between Phoebe and Frankenstein's monster
Yeah.
becomes so important to the Monster Squad's success.
It really is.
He's their unlikely ally, and he helps them find the amulet and stop Dracula,
Mm-hmm.
which is no easy feat.
Not at all.
They're following clues from a diary that's hundreds of years old,
Wow.
and it's written in German.
Yeah.
They have to decipher all this cryptic stuff from Van Helsing,
Yeah.
figure out where the amulet is hidden,
Right.
and get it before Dracula does.
That's a lot of pressure.
Talk about pressure.
Yeah.
But the diary itself is fascinating.
It is.
It's not just a plot device.
No.
It gives us this look into Van Helsing's world,
Uh-huh.
his obsessions,
Right.
his regrets.
Yeah.
It adds mystery and depth to the story,
Absolutely.
and it highlights Van Helsing's legacy as this legendary vampire hunter.
That's right.
And let's be honest, this whole deciphering ancient texts thing,
Oh, yeah?
it never gets old.
It's a classic.
I mean, who hasn't thought about finding a treasure map or a secret code?
Everyone wants to. It's
Yeah.
like this universal desire.
And in the Monster Squad,
yeah,
the stakes are huge.
they are
The fate of the world is literally hanging in the balance.
on these kids' shoulders.
So they manage to crack the code.
They do.
And they figure out that the amulet is hidden in the basement of this old abandoned house.
Spooky.
But guess who's already there waiting for them?
I think I know who.
Dracula and his monster posse.
Of course.
And this leads to one of the most suspenseful parts of the film.
Yeah.
The kids have to sneak around the house, avoiding Dracula and his minions,
Right.
and try to get the amulet without being caught.
Jerky.
And let's not forget that iconic scene where they use garlic pizza to fend off a vampire.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about using your resources.
That's thinking on your feet.
It's this perfect mix of humor and horror.
The film does that really well.
Yeah. The Monster Squad never takes itself too seriously,
No.
even when things are tense.
Yeah, even in the scary parts.
And that's part of why it's so enjoyable.
Exactly.
It's scary, it's funny, and it's full of heart.
The perfect combination. Yeah, it really does have it all.
It does.
Mm.
And I think that's a big part of why this movie works so well.
What do you mean?
It's this perfect blend of different genres.
Oh, yeah.
You've got horror with those classic monsters and genuine scares.
Uh-huh.
But then you've got the comedy, the adventure. Even a little touch of a heartwarming coming-of-age story, all mixed in.
Yeah, like a little bit of everything for everyone.
It's like the ultimate 80s movie.
It really is.
And you can really see the influence of the filmmakers Fred Decker and Shane Black.
Oh, yeah, they're both so talented.
Decker, who directed the film, he was really good at capturing that feeling of childhood.
Yeah.
You know, that mix of wonder and fear and excitement. And then Shane Black, who co-wrote the movie,
Yeah.
he went on to write some of the biggest action movies like
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon and Iron Man 3.
He knows how to write a good action scene, that's for sure.
Their talent really shows in the film's dialogue,
It's
the way the action is put together, and that perfect blend of humor and suspense.
Oh, and the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Pure 80s synth goodness.
It takes you right back.
It does.
The soundtrack is definitely a highlight.
It is.
It's not just background music. It's part of the storytelling.
Yeah.
It adds to the tension
Uh-huh.
and the atmosphere.
I love a good 80s synth soundtrack.
But as much as I love the monsters and the special effects,
Yeah.
the Monster Squad is really a story about friendship.
At its heart. Yeah, I agree.
This group of kids,
Mm-hmm.
they're not just monster-obsessed buddies.
Yeah,
They're a real team.
they are.
You've got Sean, the leader,
Right.
always ready with a plan and a pep talk.
And then Patrick the skeptic.
Right, who questions everything.
But always has his friends' backs.
Then there's Horace, the brains of the operation,
He's spouting out trivia.
coming up with all the clever solutions.
Exactly.
Rudy, the tough guy who's always ready to fight.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Phoebe,
Oh, a little Phoebe.
the heart of the group.
She is.
Her innocence and belief in her brother and his friends is just infectious.
She's so sweet.
They feel like real kids.
Yeah, they do.
Dealing with normal kid stuff like bullies and crushes,
Uh-huh.
while also battling these legendary monsters.
It's a lot for a kid to handle.
It's that relatability that makes the film so endearing.
Yeah, I think so too.
You can't help but root for them.
Every step of the way.
And their chemistry is undeniable.
Definitely.
You totally believe they're this tight-knit group of friends
Mm-hmm.
who would do anything for each other.
Absolutely.
And that's ultimately what helps them succeed.
Right.
It's their teamwork, their loyalty, their willingness to put aside their fears and fight for what they believe in.
That makes their victory all the more satisfying.
Now, we've talked a lot about the kids and the monsters,
They have.
but there are some other characters worth mentioning,
Okay, who are you thinking of?
like Sean's dad.
Oh, yeah.
He starts off as that typical skeptical parent.
Right, dismissing Sean's monster obsession as just kid stuff.
Yeah, like childish nonsense.
Uh-huh.
But as the story goes on, we see him come around.
He does.
He's a great example of a character arc, and it really speaks to the film's theme of believing in the unbelievable.
Right.
He's forced to confront the reality of what's happening.
When his son and his friends are in danger.
Exactly. And he ultimately steps up to protect them.
He does.
And then there's Patrick's older sister.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, they need a virgin to read the incantation to activate the amulet.
Right.
And she's the only one they can think of.
Of course. Classic 80s movie trope.
That whole subplot is classic 80s movie humor.
Yeah. Awkward, a little cheesy, but fun.
But it also shows how important it is that the incantation is read by a female virgin.
Which might seem random, but it's actually rooted in folklore and mythology.
It is. That's what's so cool about this movie.
What do you mean?
It takes these classic monster tropes
Okay.
and puts them into a story that feels both familiar and fresh.
Yeah.
You've got the vampire who's vulnerable to garlic,
Mm-hmm.
the werewolf transforming under the full moon,
Oh, right.
the Frankenstein monster wanting to be understood,
Yeah.
all these elements we've seen before. But they're presented in a way that feels both nostalgic and exciting,
I think that's why the Monster Squad has become such a cult classic.
especially around Halloween.
Oh, definitely.
It's become a tradition for so many families to watch it during the spooky season.
It's fun. It's scary. It's heartwarming.
It appeals to everyone.
All ages.
And it's a movie that has aged so well.
I agree.
The special effects,
Yeah.
obviously they're not on par with today's CGI,
Well,
but they still hold up.
they do.
The creatures are creepy and well-designed,
Yeah.
and those practical effects give them this realness, this visceral quality
So you don't get that with CGI.
that you just don't get in modern monster movies.
I agree. Yeah, there's just something about those old school techniques.
And the actors who brought these characters to life,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the kids are fantastic.
They are.
Each one has their own personality, and it really shines through.
Uh-huh.
And the actors playing the monsters,
Yeah,
they deserve so much credit
they do.
for bringing these iconic creatures to life.
With such physicality and nuance,
Exactly.
it would have been easy to just be scary figures in rubber suits.
Right.
But they gave them real personality.
Yeah.
Even pathos.
Like, think about the actor playing Frankenstein's monster.
Okay.
The way he shows this childlike wonder and vulnerability,
Especially with Phoebe.
it's so touching.
It is.
And the final showdown,
Oh, yeah.
it all goes down in this Gothic cathedral,
The perfect setting.
and it is pure cinematic gold.
It's a great scene.
It's so chaotic and action-packed,
Uh-huh.
but it's also incredibly emotional.
Yeah.
You see these kids
Right.
armed with nothing but their wits and their friendship
Yeah.
going up against these legendary monsters.
It's David versus Goliath.
It really is.
For the ages.
And the film doesn't shy away from how much is at stake.
No.
The fate of the world is literally on the line.
And the kids know it?
They do. You can feel that weight on them,
Uh-huh.
but they never give up.
Never.
They fight with everything they've got.
Yeah.
And they never forget what's important.
What's that?
Their friendship, their courage, their belief in each other.
It's what makes the ending so bittersweet.
It is. They defeat the monsters,
They save the world.
but it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's monster. He chooses to enter limbo
Right.
rather than stay in a world that fears him.
After he finally found acceptance and friendship,
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
it is
But it also says something about the film's message.
about prejudice and acceptance.
Exactly.
Correct.
Frankenstein's monster, despite how he looks,
Mm-hmm.
is really a gentle soul
Yeah.
who just wants to be loved.
But society just sees the monster.
They can't see past his exterior.
It's a reminder that sometimes the real monsters aren't
Mhm.
the ones hiding in the shadows.
But the ones who spread hate and intolerance,
That message is more relevant now than ever.
I think so too. But even with those darker moments,
Yeah.
The Monster Squad is ultimately a hopeful film.
It is.
It's about the power of friendship, having the courage to face your fears, and believing that good can win over evil.
Even in the darkest times.
It's a movie that celebrates that childhood magic,
Uh-huh.
the thrill of adventure, and just the pure fun of classic monster movies.
I love it.
It reminds us why we love these creatures.
Yeah.
They frighten us.
They fascinate us.
They make us question what it means to be human.
Exactly.
So if you're looking for a movie that's both entertaining and makes you think,
Uh-huh.
a movie that takes you back to those classic monster movies,
Right.
but also has this really relevant message about acceptance and understanding,
Okay.
look no further than The Monster Squad.
A true cult classic.
It is. And we highly recommend checking it out.
Especially for Halloween.
The perfect Halloween movie.
And remember, there's
Yeah.
a little bit of Monster Squad in all of us.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more great movie reviews